Hi, I'm Cliff Lenz, and our subject today is bowed string instruments. Instruments with strings on them have been around for thousands of years. Originally, they were played by plucking. Then, the bow was introduced, and people could play long, sustained tones as well as plucked ones. Although there are instruments that are played like this, it's difficult for a bow to touch each string individually. That's why the arched bridge was invented to go on instruments like this one. String instruments that are played with bows are known all over the world. India, Greece, Egypt, the list is endless. Some of these instruments are played in orchestras, others are used for folk music, like the two-string instrument from China called an erhu. Here it is, accompanied by another string instrument played with bamboo hammers. The instruments we're going to look at now developed in Europe. You see and hear them in the symphony orchestra, but they are used in other kinds of music too. American country music uses several different kinds of string instruments. One that's very popular is the violin. Country musicians call it a fiddle, and they play it differently from the way it's played in the orchestra. These players, Kevin and Joshua Moore, have amplified their instruments electronically. The American composer Aaron Copland wrote this piece so that it would sound like country fiddling. It's called Hoedown, which is a lively dance, and it uses 4 different sizes of string instruments. All of the instruments you just saw were played with a bow. The bow stick is made of flexible wood, and this part is made from horsehair. A substance called rosin is rubbed on the bow to make it stick to the strings. This causes the bow hair to grip the string, making it and the bridge vibrate. The body of the instrument amplifies the vibrations, and you have sound. String players usually start lessons when they're very young. Let's take a look at a TV show that featured a very young violinist who was studying a special way of learning to play the violin. As a matter of fact, she was only 3 years old when she appeared on the show.
Leela Josefowicz is 3 years old, and she's been studying the Suzuki method for 6 months with teacher Kathy Linke.
Let's bow, Leela. Okay. Would you please show me how you stand when you play the violin? That's a girl. Good. Okay. Can you show me how you hold the violin without the violin hand? Ready, play.
According to Dr. Suzuki, each child is born with potential, and given the proper environment, every child can learn to play the violin.
This is how Leela played at age 9. It took a lot of practicing to get from the beginning to this. Leela was 12 when this program was broadcast in England. Now she's invited to play with famous symphony orchestras all over the world because her playing is so amazing. A different string instrument that looks like a violin is a viola. The difference? It's larger, has a lower range, and a darker tone quality. Here it is played by the remarkable violist Paul Neubauer. cello looks a lot like the violin and viola, but it's much bigger. Because its strings are longer, its sound is lower. The player rests the instrument on the floor since it's too big to put under the chin. Carter Bray has won many musical awards for his excellent playing and performs internationally. The double bass is the largest of the bowed string instruments in the violin family. It's really hard to play because it's over 6 feet tall. But when Gary Carr plays, it looks easy. Not only because he has so much talent, but also because he can't help clowning around. One of the most challenging types of music for string instrument players is the string quartet. It consists of 2 violinists, a violist, and a cellist, each playing a different part. Let's listen to some quartet playing by members of the Guarneri Quartet, 4 extraordinary musicians who have been playing quartets together for more than 25 years. orchestra, there are many string players performing the same part. As a matter of fact, string players make up most of an orchestra. There are more bowed string instruments in an orchestra than all of the wind instruments combined. Although each bowed string instrument has its own special range and sound, as a group they speak in the same voice, one that can be thin and delicate or full and resonant, but always touching.